Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Commodity TV and an update on silver, which is in deficit for the 7th year and nobody cares. It's really interesting. I want to give you a little update on the market, my insights, and some company charts and ideas. Let's have a look at the World Silver Institute latest numbers here. I find that really interesting. The industrial component was last year at 680.5 million ounces in the demand, and they're also scheduled for this year almost the same value, minus 3 million. That's nothing. And also, if you have a look at the deficit, this is really crazy. 2024, minus 210 million ounces. And for this year, they expect again 187.6 million ounces deficit. I could imagine that it might be a little bit more. But what does it mean? It means we have an accumulated deficit of 1.2 billion ounces of silver in the last 7 years, if we put this also into account from this year. And to be honest, the 7th year is always the year something happens. And I have no idea from where this future additional supply should come. We do not have new mines. We do not really have those large entities which can provide 20, 30, 50 million ounces, which were needed. But still, the supply is too low to match the demand. So I think the revenge will come in significantly rising silver prices. The silver supply 2024, the global mine production was plus 0.9% to almost 820 million ounces, with supply from Mexico recovered due to Newmont's Peñasquito mine being back in full production after temporary suspension in 2023. And of course, Fresnillo and MAG Silver's Juanicipio mine continued to improve the recovery rates and the production, of course, also. The output from Australia, Bolivia and the US also increased. Primary silver supply continued its long-term downward trend to just 227.5 million ounces. That means pure silver mines. What is a pure silver mine? You have a pure silver mine when you are above 60-65% of silver, because they are not really existing. Silver from copper production was minus 1.8%, down to 219 million ounces, as output from several large mines was falling. The silver supply from the lead zinc mines was the main source in supply in 2024, but output was unchanged on an annualized basis. Silver as a byproduct of gold mines recorded the strongest growth with plus 12% or 13.9 million ounces. Sorry guys, that's nothing if we look at the deficit of over 200 million ounces. It's nice to have, but it does not really help. Almost the entire increase is based on one mine. Peñasquito is responsible for the 2.1% increase in production in Mexico. In Australia and Bolivia, growth came only from lead and zinc mines. In the USA, this could only be achieved through the start of Hecla's Keno Hill and Kerr Mining's Rochester expansion. However, increases were offset by a number of countries such as Chile, where Kinross La Coipa and Anglo American and Glencore's Collahuasi showed weaker production. Recycling was plus 6% to a 12-year high of 194 million ounces. Almost the largest increases came from silverware at plus 11%, as the high prices encouraged many consumers to sell, especially in the West. Maybe they were too early. Volumes in India were limited. Western markets made a significant contribution of plus 8% in jewelry scrap, as some markets saw inventory depletion. The largest contributor was industrial scrap, with plus 4.8 million ounces, mainly driven by the processing of spent ethylene oxide catalysts. Net supply from the official sector was minus 9% in 2024. What is the conclusion? The markets remain very tight. Even increased recycling is not helping. No real increase in supply on the horizon. Short sellers, make sure you have fastened your seatbelts. You will get in trouble. Demand for silver. Well, after a decline in 2023, silver demand fell slightly by plus 3% to 1.164 billion ounces. As in 2023, the decline was due to weaker physical investment demand, silverware, and lower consumption in photography. Compensation through the rising industrial demand in 2024, a new record of over 680 million ounces. Demand also grew due to the green economy, photovoltaics, of course, electromobility, and the expansion of electricity grids. Photovoltaics led by China's growth with over 278 gigawatts installed in 2024. The demand will also be boosted by applications in the field of artificial intelligence and in the consumer electronics sector. Demand in the electronics and electrical sector to set a new record in 2024. Automotive and aviation industry also consumed more. Other industrial demand grew by 4%. Geographically, China was a major demand driver with plus 7% in industry and India plus 4%. In the West, Europe was rather weak, as was the USA with minus 6%. Further structural decline due to photography to only 25.5 million ounces of silver. Honestly, we don't even count that probably in the future. Demand from the medical sector improved. After a decline in 2023 in the jewelry sector, this grew by plus 3% to almost 209 million ounces, which was mainly due to India and the reduction in import duties, as well as a healthy economy and rising living standards. And this will go on, ladies and gentlemen. India is on the real growth path. Thailand was the other big winner with plus 13%. Consumption in Europe declined slightly, while the US was stable. The contrast was the economic weakness in China. Chinese jewelry coloration declined for the third year in a row, and silverware demand in 2024 fell 2% to a three-year low of 54.2 million ounces. Further declines were recorded in India due to higher prices and in China with minus 10% due to weaker consumer demand and the festive season. Coins and bars also hit a five-year low, falling by 22% to 190.9 million ounces in 2024. This explains why silver has not risen more significantly, because in former years, this was always the key to much higher prices. All Western core markets were weaker due to the higher cost of living and profit-taking. Due to Trump's election, the decline was initially strong in the US, but also in Germany, where tax increases once again attracted negative attention. The contrast was India, with a 21% increase in coins and bars, the highest level since 2015. The global delta-adjusted producer hedge book fell by 4.3 million ounces to just 4.5 million ounces, the lowest level in recent decades. Only 3 producers were hedged at the end of 2024. I'm pretty sure they know why, because they know that something really big is coming. What's the conclusion? Well, the market can no longer sustain this for long. The deficit remains and has continued to grow in recent years. 2025 expected to be another deficit year with over 185 million ounces, or, as I think, more. So far, the short sellers have been only lucky. But that could change quickly, ladies and gentlemen. In addition comes now defense and nuclear power as new demand drivers. Global military spending is surging to $2.7 trillion worldwide in 2024. Isn't that a crazy number? Just to kill each other. I don't like it. But it is what it is. Defense products do not work without silver. Think about a Tomahawk cruise missile, for example. 500 ounces of silver are in each rocket. In addition comes uranium, meaning nuclear power plants. And nuclear power plants need a lot of silver when they are built, but you also need silver ingots when you want to control the nuclear reaction. And in addition come the small modular reactors, which will need additional silver. And we have no idea how many will come from 2028 onwards online. So 2 new fields of creating demand, rising demand, large demand. We will see what happens. Let's have shortly a look on the comics. In silver, large speculators such as hedge funds and money market managers reduced their long positions by 0.6% and cut their short positions by 5.5%. The commercial silver traders increased their long positions by 0.7% and increased the shorts by 1.9%. The net short position is now 64,374 contracts from 62,750 the week before. Important. The total short position of the commercials is 2.6 times larger than the long position. The silver short position of the commercials is still twice as high compared to 2023. Guys, pay attention. You might get a problem here. Let's have a look on the chart. I love my pointed figures, as you know that, and we see a breakout above $36, which will result immediately in a price target of $45 and then $51 in the longer term, meaning definitely for this year. I could also imagine by this year, let's say Q1 2026, $62 already. This is a strong chart. Let's have a look at some company charts. Discovery Silver, well, it was a hefty downtrend, which they broke completely to the upside. And the first target, which we were always saying, 275 is reached. That is perfect. The next target is 5 to 6 Canadian dollars and could go higher if Cordero gets all permits and will be built. Endeavour Silver, now working on Terronera, bought a mine in Peru also in addition. We are still positive and see here the correction is done. Next price target is 7.5, then 10.5, and then 13.5 Canadian dollars in the longer term, meaning 2026, 2027 latest. MAG Silver, fantastic chart, great upward trend. And the first price target is 31 Canadian dollars, which represents also a breakout. And after that, $41 to $44 come into the play. Sierra Madre Gold and Silver, we like the little silver and gold producer. Fantastic company. They are doing really well and delivering. And we think 65 to 68 Canadian cents would be a real breakout, giving us immediately 80 to 90 cents in the stock and then $1 Canadian dollar 25, which we see definitely for the end of the year, probably Q1 2026 latest. VZLA Silver doing everything right. They are really on the run here. Fantastic silver resource. And this will be the next big mine, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years. And they have done a double bottom at $2.50. And this is holding. And we think 350 to 375 is the next immediate target. Above 375, this creates a pro-cyclical buy signal. And the next target price is then 5.50 Canadian dollars. So then Kerr Mining, great company. 11 Canadian dollars is the next price target. Then we need to have a look again, but they're doing everything right. Pan American Silver, also fantastic company, great upward trend, fantastically well moved here. 48 Canadian dollars is definitely the next price target here. Osisko Gold Royalties, you wonder maybe why there is a royalty company in. Well, they produce 25 million ounces of silver per annum. So they are a big silver producer. And honestly, this chart is so absolutely perfect and the company really delivered sensationally. And since the double bottom at $12, where we recommended to buy, all our targets are fulfilled. So now the next one is 40 Canadian dollars and then already 63 Canadian dollars for the company. Great job, guys. And if you want to have everything in one basket, I would call it, then buy the Global X Silver Miner ETF. This is comprised of over 35 stocks, and the first target is $60 for this. Here you see what is all in. A lot of companies I've just mentioned. All the big players are in, some good developers, and also some explorers, larger explorers. I think this is really fantastic. Check it out on the website. You see here on the upper left edge. And also here you see some more companies which are in it. So silver is on the run. Silver will move definitely. I think it's only a matter of time that this year something happens. 7th year of deficit and silver will make its way because we are at the beginning of a real bull market in view of defense investments, photovoltaics, e-mobility, AI and electronics, plus nuclear power. I wish you good luck. Stay healthy. All the best from Switzerland. Thanks and bye-bye.